You need to press it down, closing it up. Now we'll check the fit. You can see that it's a little bit tight from bending, and I'll need to take just a little bit off on either side. Now it fits and it doesn't move from side to side. It's very tight. Now I need to cut it for the fit. Pull it out just slightly. Make a scribe line. And then one also on the back. Now I need to lift the tongue up. Check it again, make sure it hasn't changed. Has a good tight fit. Now I can shorten it. Now I need to saw the excess off on the tongue on the top section. Now I need to assemble the plunger section. I've pickled the tongue and now I want to check the fit. It should fit very securely and there should be no slop in it on either side. Nice and tight. And it should snap when you push the tongue in and lock. The old tongue was very sloppy. As you can see, it moves around from side to side a lot. This creates more wear. If it's tighter, there's less wear because the pieces don't tend to move around as much. This is the piece of the old tongue. This is the old tongue here. This is the back brace, and this is the jump ring, which attaches to the pearls, and this here is the safety on the opposite side. I want to remove the old tongue either by unsoldering it or by sawing it off. You need to be very careful and not saw into the back plate. At this point, I'm going to want to remove the old solder of the file. You can also grind it away with a burr. It's important that you remove all the old solder. Now I need to make my measurement. As you can see, it goes into the box very well. Has just a little bit of movement backwards, which is good. I want to push the tongue all the way into the box. Make a line where you need to saw, and then if you pull it out slightly until the top of the clasp catches of the tongue, you can see there's a small gap. This is a little extension that needs to solder to the back plate for the tongue. This will give it enough gap for the upper mechanism to lock. You want to saw just before the line. Saw slowly. You don't want to go all the way through and cut the other side. You need to file this bottom edge to match the curve of the back plate. It's important to have a good tight fit for this. There should be no gaps between the butt joint. Now I'm ready to solder the back plate onto the tongue. I'll use the clasp to help me hold this together while I'm soldering. Now I need to see how the fit is going. Seems to be a little sticky in the receiving side, so what I'll do is take a file and lightly open up this top edge, just slightly. From time to time, on a repair such as this, you may need to adjust the opening to make the fit correct. Should be very tight, and pull apart. And the safety clasp should also work. Before this job is over, if the tongue needs to be tightened a little bit more for a little bit of tension, you'd want to planish it lightly. Which will give it a little bit more tension, and also lift up the tongue. This will help give it a little extra stiffness. In this repair, the tongue fit better than the original. In repair work, your aim is to restore the piece to its original condition. If the piece broke due to a design flaw, you should fix it if the customer agrees.
The jeweler is often called upon to repair or replace findings. Findings are any mechanism that makes a piece of jewelry wearable. Because these findings are usually movable, they're subject to a lot of wear. One factor in this wear is that body oils adhere to the metal and then grit adheres to the oils, which causes a sandpaper effect in the joints. Because of this, it's good to advise your customers to have their piece of jewelry cleaned frequently. This also brings them into your store more often. Pinbacks consist of 3 parts: a stem, a catch, and a hinge.
This brooch had a handmade pinback that broke. Anti-oxidize the piece and remove the old hinge base and remaining piece of the catch. Be sure to completely remove the old solder. You can use a combination of wheels, starting with a grinding wheel and working up to a polishing buff. Mark the location of the new back so you will know where to place the 2 end parts when soldering. Melt a small piece of easy solder on the brooch, and when it puddles, place the new catch. When soldering a catch, open the locking mechanism so that solder won't flow up into it. Attach the new hinge base in the same way. After soldering, polish around the new finding parts with a small brush. Buff and restore the antiquing to the rest of the piece before assembling the pin stem. The stem is held in the hinge base by a pin which passes through the flat end. When purchased new, the hinge base comes spread open to facilitate assembly.
Changing findings on earrings from pierced to non-pierced and vice versa is a very common repair. Ear posts come either threaded, requiring a threaded nut, or unthreaded. The threaded nuts are usually used for more valuable small earrings that a customer is not likely to be removing on a regular basis. The straight posts are held in place either with a friction back or with an omega clip. The advantage of the omega clip is that by adjusting the tension on it slightly and removing the post, you can automatically switch an earring out to a non-pierced earring. Non-pierced earrings come either as clip backs or as screw backs.
When placing an earring finding, protect or remove any stones and antioxidize the piece. Melt a small piece of easy solder where the post will be and place the post.
When changing the findings on earrings, there are a number of factors that you need to consider. One of these is if you need to add an omega clip to a plain earring. This already has a post on it, but if I leave it there and add the omega clip, the pressure of the clip will be up on this sharp edge on the top of the earring. By moving the post down just a little bit, I relieve that pressure so that it hits on a smoother area of the earring. This will make it much more comfortable for wear and allow the clip to function properly.
Regular clip earring findings usually come disassembled. Solder on the hinge base first, with the open side facing the top of the earring. Then assemble the clips. The center tab of the clip rests on top of the soldered base and provides the spring tension for the clip. To adjust the tension of the clip for the comfort of the individual wearer, you can use this handy tool, the Comfy's Comfort Key, which is made especially for this purpose. If you over-adjust the tension, take the clip out of the base and restore the tab to its original position before readjusting.
If you're changing pierced earrings to clip-ons or screw-ons, you need to be aware that the pad of the clip will fit against the lobe of the ear. If your customer has a very long earlobe, the earring finding will need to be placed lower on the earring than if they have a very short lobe. When working with a screwback earring, make sure that you unscrew the finding first before you solder it on. The findings we have just covered are the most common encountered by the repair person. Other repairs that you might come across use the same principles, such as hinged mechanisms and pieces that have work-hardened springy metal. These same principles will also apply to cufflink backs and hinged ear backs. As you've seen from watching us, there are many aspects to jewelry repair.
You can certainly say that again. Jewelry repair is an art in itself. In making jewelry, you use the same skills as repair, but you need a little bit more foresight and planning to finish the project.
That's true. Well, I think we've covered everything, do you?
Yeah, I believe we have, but I would like to impress on people that it's important to practice. Practice is very important. Without practice, you'll be unable to accomplish these things.
You can buy pieces from flea markets or garage sales to practice with.
And when you have the confidence and you can do the job, then you can tell people about it and add it to your business.
The time that you invest in learning jewelry repair will be well rewarded. Your customers will be happy with your work and will be repeat customers. They're also likely to send their friends as well, which in turn will build your business. That must be Mrs. Anderson. She's coming to pick up, let's see, the class ring and the Juliet ring.
Okay.
Hi, Mrs. Anderson. How are you today?
Good, Marian. How are you?
Good. Got your rings ready for you.
Great.
Here's your daughter's diamond ring.
Oh, it looks lovely.